Welcome back, listeners, to another interesting episode of Mindful Living with your host, Sana. Now, today we are diving deep into something that so many of us grapple with: living your life purpose. We chase success, we accumulate material wealth, we tick off life's check boxes, and yet, sometimes something still feels missing. And my guest today knows this all too well. From the outside, they seemed to have it all: success, financial stability, a beautiful lifestyle. But inside, there was a void. And instead of settling for that emptiness, he did something remarkable. He walked away, sought answers, and dedicated the last 30 years to uncovering what it truly means to live a life of passion, purpose, and prosperity. So, listeners, meet Bill Heinrich. So, Bill, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor having you with us today.
Thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate you having me on the show.
Okay, so Bill, starting at the beginning, you had what many people dream of. In fact, I dream of success, money, and a great lifestyle. But you still felt that void, that emptiness. So, what was that pivotal moment when you realized that something had to change?
Well, over the years, the my behavior and the environment I was in and the people I was around became more and more chaotic. Um, it just it it literally took me to misery. I mean, I just had no happiness. I did things where we had fun,
Mhm.
but I was empty inside, and it got to the point where I was so miserable, and this was a little over 30 years ago,
Mhm.
uh, that it was 2 days after Christmas. I was in a relationship, and I literally, like, I don't know, I one night I just kind of snapped. I was getting angry, and I
Mhm.
went and sat alone, and this voice came into my head and said, "You need to go find out why you're so miserable." It was so clear. Um, and I literally got up, got my coat, looked at the woman I was in a relationship with, and
Mhm.
said, "I am so miserable. I have to go find out why." Now,
Mhm.
she thought I was blaming her, but that's not what I did. That what isn't what I said. And I walked out the door, and I never came back. And I changed my whole life. And I spent the last 30 plus years
Mhm.
researching this, up to this moment, because there's always more to learn. And we can always live at a higher vibration. We can always communicate, excuse me, we can always communicate better with others to to be more of service and come from a place of love.
Mhm.
And I found all the pieces that not only ended my misery, but I then, a little over 15 years ago, started a coaching business, and I've been teaching people this for the last 15 years, with tremendous success. Because when people, when it clicks, when they get it, everybody's life changes instantly.
True, true. I completely agree with you. But uh, I think it was quite, it was in fact a very, very huge risk that you took. But I think the beauty here is that you felt that inner voice, um, you got that inner calling. And I think that's really, really powerful because many people ignore that feeling or
Yeah.
calling, or maybe they just
Yeah.
press it with distractions because,
Yeah. Well, I want to apologize because there's something that you said that I don't agree with. It was not a risk.
okay.
The 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 best thing that happened to me was I was so miserable. I had to go do it. I didn't have any choice. I mean, I couldn't stand being with myself anymore. So it was like, oh, I can't take this. It's like if you take a hammer and you hit yourself in the head with a hammer, it's
Mhm.
not a risk to put the hammer down and stop hitting yourself in the head. You're going to feel better, So it was, that's kind of what it was like.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Good. Also, since it's a 30 years worth of researching and experimenting to discover how to live with passion and purpose. So, just you know, distilling everything. If you can share a few key lessons for our listeners, what would they be?
Oh, there's, let me find a couple of good ones. Okay. Number one, you must understand that your life purpose is not what you're doing. It's not your occupation. It's not your job. Everybody says, "Oh, I do this and this is my purpose and it's so great." That is not true. Your life purpose is the energy that you do everything with. It's not what you're doing, it's who you're being. You're not a human doing,
Mhm.
you're a human being.
Yeah.
So who are you being? And once you have the capacity to connect with that, which is 100% correct, you understand that there's two of you. And I see it so clearly that when I look in the mirror, I realize I'm not seeing me. I'm seeing a physical manifestation of my energy in that moment. The day I die,
Mhm.
what I see in the mirror isn't going anywhere. It's staying here on earth. My energy is going to leave. That's the most important thing to understand. It's the energy. So when you understand that, there's two of us. There's a non-physical, energetic me, which essentially is what you breathe. When you're breathing, that's you. That's you. That's your energy.
Mhm.
And it's that breath of life that creates your purpose, not what you're doing. And when you look at that energetically, you will quickly realize that the physical part of us can only live in fear. That's it. That's all the physical reality knows is fear, hard work, lack of clarity, and suffering. That's what life in the physical represents. Life in the non-physical represents love, abundance, gratitude. I can go on with the list of what I call non-physical words. And when I say a non-physical word, I, for instance, you you cannot, excuse me, you cannot describe to me what love looks like. You cannot describe to me what gratitude looks like. You cannot describe what abundance looks like because those are essences of our being. And when they manifest in the physical world, that energy manifests something that looks physically different every time. Love could be you with a puppy. Love could be you with a child. Love could be you in nature. It could be many different things. You see, it's totally about who you're being.
Mm. Yeah, and uh, you talk about the physical and non-physical forms. So, right from our childhood, we have kind of been conditioned um,
Mhm.
to see success, tangible success.
Right, right, right.
But as
Yeah.
you have shown, you have proven that's not always the case. So, since you have worked with high-level executives, people who are always used to chase achievements, How do you help them make that shift, their mindset from external success and validation to internal fulfillment, that enlightenment?
You know, it's when you start to understand who you are
Mhm.
energetically, it changes your whole life. And what happens is you can actually succeed in the physical at a much higher level. However, the difference is you're doing it not for the profit, although that's the objective and that's what gets accomplished because it's part of what you've agreed to complete, right? It's part of what you've agreed to complete. But the energy that one is doing it with creates a sense of internal fulfillment during the entire process. And the fulfillment doesn't come from the money, the fulfillment comes from the interaction with other souls as you're creating something that benefits everybody.
Hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. And uh, have you seen any common patterns? If you can, maybe I think it's difficult to summarize in points, but still, any common patterns in the people you have worked with? Things that hold them back from true fulfillment.
Well, it's always, it's always the same thing.
Mhm.
And it's really very simple. They're either surviving or they're thriving.
Mm.
When you're surviving, your whole focus is on the physical world. And when your focus is on the physical world, you can only focus through attention. And
Mhm.
that's it. Where your attention goes, you go. When you're thriving, my whole focus is on the non-physical world, and it's focused on my intentions. And my intentions are fueled by my energy. My intentions are not fueled by expectations in the physical of what something's going to look like. I focus on being a catalyst for energy that brings it all together so that the achievements end up at a much higher level than if we were just focusing our attention. Because when you focus your attention and you have single pointed attention on that which you want to accomplish, that is going to control your life. You're going to manipulate, you're going to say things, you're going to do what you have to do to get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
W- When we work with an intention, I am always focused on creating the energy that will support my intention. And that energy not only is going to allow me to create the intention, but it's also going to be a catalyst and a magnet for other like energies who are also going to help me get there. So what I say is everyone and everything in the universe is conspiring to help me.
Mm. And also, uh, just shifting the perspective a little bit, some people believe that finding your purpose is a privileged concept, that not everyone has that luxury of walking away from their life to go to on a transformational journey.
Mhm, mhm.
What would you say to someone who feels stuck in their circumstances and they see purpose as maybe an unattainable ideal?
Well, if they think they're stuck, they're stuck. If they think that they can attract that to them in their current circumstances and transcend their current circumstances, they can do that. I do that with clients all the time. You know, I was, for instance, I was hired by a client. This was about 18 months ago. Woman hired me. I started working with her and she said, "Wow, you're amazing. I want my husband to work with you too, separately." I said, "Great." So her husband started working with me. Shortly after that, she told me she wanted a divorce. And I'm thinking, oh, great. What the heck did I get myself into? And I said, "Well, tell me more about it." So she told me about it. I said, "Okay, you can do that. But right now, I want you to give me 90 days." She said, "No, I want to do it right away." I said, "Well, listen, how long have you been married?" She said, 15 years. I said, "Good. Give me 90 days. At the end of 90 days, you still want a separation and divorce. I'm fine with that. But you'll see why I want the 90 days." So she said, "Okay, that's right. 3 months, that's reasonable." Well, we went through that 3 months. And in that 3 months, I showed her how to transcend her anger into love and to own herself, and created a path for the two of them to collaborate consciously and lovingly to create the separation and eventually the divorce. And it was done through love. In fact, the day she got divorced, she put a post on Facebook about the fact that I've gotten divorced and want to help the people that helped me along the way. And first of all, I have to say that Bill Heinrich was a godsend. Like, we eliminated the battle. She got to the reason why she wanted it. She got to the point where she could speak to her husband. It went through, it was a beautiful process. In fact, today, they probably love themselves more than they did before because of the way they did this. And they're able to work with their kids and there's no fighting and so on and so forth. Obviously it's a sad situation, but she was very, you know, she definitely wanted the separation. So she did it from a place of love. It made all the difference in the world. So anybody can transcend their energy, but you can't transcend your energy when you're in an environment where you feel obligated or you're always focusing on doing things to get other people's approval. It'll never happen that way.
It's quite a funny example. Great, great, Bill. Just before we wrap up, one quite an interesting thing. You now offer 100% success guarantee to your clients, and that's a bold promise. So, what makes you so confident that your blueprint works for anyone willing to follow it?
Well, I'm not offering it now. I've always offered it. It's for 15 years I've offered it. And no one's ever asked for their money back.
Mm, wow, that's really, really incredible, Bill.
So that, that the important thing, the most important thing in that needs to be understood is when people come to me, we we all have limited capacity in our lives. So if you said to me, "Well, I want to learn my purpose. I want to hire you," and we would sit down and talk. I need to make certain that you have the capacity to absorb what I'm going to teach you. Because if you don't have the capacity, I'm not going to work with you. And the reason I'm not is because you would I would turn your life upside down, inside out, and you would be miserable. I would do more to harm you. It isn't, you know, you can't buy your life purpose. You can't borrow it from me. You can't steal it from me. You have to be it. And you have to have the capacity to take in the information so that you're able to create more awareness in your life. And the more awareness you create means you can create many more options and choices. And it's those options and choices that allow you to transform your life instantly. Instantly. I have a client. This is a real quick. story, but it's true, 100% true. Young gentleman. In fact, he just turned 30 last Friday. He's been with me for over a year. When he came to me, you'll see if you go look online and on at YouTube, I've got a video of part of my interview with him where he said he learned more from me in 2 hours than he learned in 50 therapy sessions.
Mm.
Now, it doesn't mean I'm better than a therapist. There's nothing wrong with therapists. It means when the student's ready, the teacher appears.
Yep, that's right.
And it completely transformed his life. And he had no confidence. And now he's written a book. He gets paid speaking gigs. He's been with me a year. And now for his 30th birthday, he literally is in Dubai right now to celebrate his birthday. He wanted to go to Dubai so that he could feel the energy and really see, touch, and feel the energy of phenomenal wealth, because his intention is to move that way so that he can help as many people as possible. Not move to Dubai, but move and create his capacity to allow the energy that goes with sustainable wealth coming from a loving place in his life. That was his choice at the age of 30. Just remarkable. He'll find, I mean, it's just, and when he asked me for permission to go to Dubai, I said, "I'm not giving you permission to go to Dubai. If you wanna go, you gotta make the choice." "Well, I don't know if it's the right thing." I said, "Well, you gotta figure that out because I don't make decisions for you." And I said, "What are for your birthday?" He said, "Well, what I would do is my birthday's on Friday," and he's single. He said, "I'm gonna go celebrate it with my whole family, with my brothers and my father and my aunts and uncles, and then I'll go to Dubai after that." I said, "Well, that's beautiful. Yeah, that really sounds nice. Have fun." Yeah, but he wanted permission. It's like, I don't tell my clients what to do. They make their own choices, and then we talk about the energy that they created with those choices.
Mm. That's that's really a great testament, definitely. Great. So, Bill, if our listeners would wish to connect with you, how they can do that?
Um, my website is True Life Purpose Now, truelifepurposenow.com. And I also have a YouTube channel, which I have named after a new program I'm just introducing called the Peak Potential Blueprint. Uh, so it's Peak Potential Blueprint on YouTube is where my videos are. And I'm going to be releasing this new program. It's so exciting. I'm working on it right now. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Um, and I'm going to be releasing that probably within a month or so. And I'm just so excited about that because the Peak Potential Blueprint is different than the life purpose. Life purpose scares people. They think it's woo-woo and energy and metaphysics, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's woo-woo." It's like, well, when you breathe, it's woo-woos. But anyway, but everybody understands potential. So doing the peak potential blueprint um, is my way to deceive people who think they're still in the physical, but I'm going to take them to their purpose. I'm tricking them. I have to be honest because when you tap into your potential, you're tapping into your purpose because your potential is not in the physical. Your potential is untapped energy. That's what potential is. And your potential, when you learn to tap into that energy, it can only create one thing, and that's called a miracle. And a miracle is an unexpected event with a positive outcome for you.
Mm, true. Great. So, we'll have all the details mentioned in the show notes for our listeners to connect to.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for this enlightening conversation. And thank you for sharing your wisdom, your experiences with all of us today.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
And to all of our listeners, thank you to all of you for joining me. And remember that your purpose isn't something you find, it's something you create. So until next time, stay mindful and keep living with intention. And if this episode connected with you, take a moment to reflect. What is one step you can take towards living your life with more intention and purpose? Well, I leave you all with this question to do a bit of self introspection today. And this is your host, Sana, signing off.